Welcome to the Chapter 7 skill tutorial. You're going to need all these fraction skills in the test, so it's worth your time to review this to make sure you can multiply and divide fractions. And in video 2, we'll do adding and subtracting. So here are the two different approaches you can take for multiplying fractions. And note they're the same steps, just in opposite orders. Either you multiply first or you multiply second. So here's an example. To multiply 4 by 3/8, first, if one number is not written as a fraction, then I recommend writing it as a fraction. In this case, 4 is the same as 4 over 1. Then when you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. We have 4 times 3 is 12. That's our numerator. Then in the denominator, we have 1 times 8 is 8. And then we're done with step number 1. We multiplied straight across. All right, for step 2, reduce. You want to reduce by as much as possible in one big step. So even though 12 and 8 are both divisible by 2, there's still a larger number that goes into both 12 and 8. In this case, 4 is the largest number that goes into both 12 and 8. So let's reduce by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. And finally, we got 3 over 2. 3 and 2 have nothing left in common as factors, so this is our final reduced answer. Let's try approach number 2 to see how it's different. We got 4 over 1 times 3 over 8. Now instead of multiplying first, that would be straight across, we're going to reduce first. Let me change pen colors. The only thing to keep in mind when reducing is you can always reduce anything in the numerator with anything in the denominator. So it's always top to bottom and never side to side. So let's look for a number up here that we can reduce with a number down here. And I see 4 and 8 can both be divided by 4, so let's reduce each of these by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then you keep that process going. We've got a 1 and a 3, a 1 and a 2. There are no more common factors besides the 1, but 1 would keep going into itself and leaving 1 behind over and over again, so there's no point in doing that. But everything else is clear, so we're ready to multiply straight across and be done. We have 1 left over times 3 is 3. In the denominator, we have 1 times 2 is 2. And we got the same answer that we had from approach number 1, 3 over 2. All right, let's move on to another example. This time, I'm going to show you how to make up your own problem so you can practice yourself with any number of problems that you want to create. This time we're going to create a problem that has a much larger numerator and denominator. Let's say 20 and then over 16. You multiply this by, let's say, 36, then over about 50. There. So between method number 1 and method number 2, if I used approach number 1, 20 times 36 and 16 times 50, not so bad, but instead of multiplying those out, I would like to use approach number 2 and reduce these first. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can get this problem on your own first, and then come back and play it. All right, welcome back. So here's my solution. I was going to use method number 2 to reduce first. Let's see, is there anything up here that can be reduced by the same amount as something down here? No, 16 has some 4s and some 2s and some 8s in it, and 20's got some 2s, same with 36. So let's go ahead and reduce 20 and 16. 4 is the biggest number that goes into both, so I'll reduce these both by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Done there. Between 36 and 50, well, 2 can definitely go into both of them. Is there anything bigger than 2? I don't see anything, so we'll divide each by 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18. And then 50 divided by 2 is 25. And now we have a choice to multiply across now or continue reducing. I'm going to continue reducing, so I'll switch my pen color to black for a second step of reducing. Remember, anything in the numerator can be reduced with anything in the denominator. We've got a 5 up here and 25 down here could both be divided by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 5. And one more step of reducing between 18 and 4. 2 can go into both of them, so let's divide them each by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So essentially, after we've done our canceling, we ended up with a 1 times 9 in the numerator, which is 9. And then 2 times 5 in the denominator is 10. And 9 and 10 have nothing left in common to reduce by, so that's our final answer. You can check this with a calculator. Do 20 over 16 on a calculator, multiply that by 36 divided by 50, and see if you get the same answer as 9 divided by 10, and you will. So let's go ahead and make up your own problems like I did. Check it with a calculator. When you can do, I'd say 2 to 3 problems about this level in a row correctly, then you're good to go. You can move on. So go ahead and pause the video, make up your own problems, and then come back when you're done. All right, here's the dividing rules. To divide fractions, you change it to a multiplication problem. There's an example using the same problems or same numbers from our first example, but instead of multiplying them, we're going to divide them. So the rule for division is instead of dividing, you change a problem to a multiplication. And when you're dividing by a fraction, that's the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So instead of dividing by 3/8, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal 8/3. Remember, to keep things clear, when a number's not written as a fraction, it's usually easiest to write as a fraction. So 4 is changed to 4 over 1. So I've changed my problem to instead of dividing by 3/8, multiply by its reciprocal. And now I can choose method 1 or 2. I'm going to go ahead and just multiply straight across. 4 times 8 is 32. In the denominator, we have 1 times 3 is 3. And 32 and 3 have nothing left in common. And so that's our final answer, 32 over 3. And as we did before, it's important that you make up your own problems and practice until you can get 2 to 3 correct in a row. So go ahead and pause the video after I create a problem. And then you can try it out on your own and see if you get it right. So here's a random problem, like literally 24 divided by 32. Then divide this by, let's say, 18 over 20. Pause the video, try it on your own, and come back. All right, welcome back. So remember, to divide fractions, dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So let's change this problem into, let me switch pen colors. Instead of 24 over 32 divided by 18/20ths, we're going to do 24 over 32 and then multiplied by the reciprocal of 18/20ths. So instead of division by a fraction, we're multiplying by its reciprocal. It's really the only thing you need to remember for dividing fractions. All right, now that I've changed my problem into a multiplication of the reciprocal, we can go ahead and choose method 1 or 2. Again, method 2 I like for this problem. Since the numbers are so large, I'd like to reduce them to be smaller numbers to be easier to work with. So let's see. Is there anything up here that could be reduced by anything down here? And I see some stuff here. Let's say between 24 and 32, the largest number that goes into both, I think is 8. 8 goes into 24 3 times, and it goes into 32 also. So let's divide these each by 8. So 24 divided by 8 is 3, and 32 divided by 8 is 4. That was a good reducing step. Then between, let's do this. We have 4 left over and 20, so let's reduce each of these by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Done. Then we still have 3 and 18 can be reduced, so let's divide them both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. So now left over, we've got 1 times 5 in the numerator, that would be 5. In the denominator, we have 1 times 6 left over, is 6. And 5 and 6 have nothing left in common because we did all the reducing back over here. We could have just multiplied what we had at any given point, then reduced our final answer, but we chose to reduce at the very beginning, so at the end, there's nothing left to reduce by. So check this with a calculator to do this. use parentheses in your calculator and do 24 divided by 32. Then divide that by, use parentheses, 18 over 20, and see if you get the same answer as 5 over 6, and you should. So go ahead and make up your own problems, 2 to 3, until you can get them correct in a row, and I'll see you back in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.